That's not going to work. This production stand is too small for me.
It's extremely versatile.
I feel so bloated. Anywhere from 37 to 40 weeks is considered a full-term pregnancy. Somehow we made it. We've been having contractions since approximately 27 weeks regularly, with exertion lasting longer than 30 minutes or so, or walking more than 4 or 5 blocks. On top of that, I feel like the baby is really heavy and that my hips have been pushing outward because of gravity and the surface, along with the baby moving down into the pelvic region, causing separation of my hips, which are making them even wider. But we're 35 weeks, and we could go into labor and be considered full-term
In a couple weeks.
anytime, after the next 2 weeks. So that's shocking. Not shocking, but
We're ready for it.
scary, exciting.
We'll meet the baby.
Of course, I want to meet my son, but I also want to have everything else ready. If you guys are familiar with the phenomena, people discuss with me all the time how I feel about abortions or adoptions, and I tell them, that I don't really believe in those things for myself right now. There are a time that, and a place where each of them have their purpose, but I don't believe in long-term fixes, as someone I know says, fractures on band-aids, that do not evolve with the problems. And if the parent biologically is available to be with the child, there are biological phenomena that take place, like nesting, when a woman is pregnant, because hormonally she is sensing, what to do next, and it's driving her next instinct and impulse and reaction and all of this. So it's really just interesting to me to see what my body is naturally guiding me to do. You guys know I have 3 other children, and I made it through those pregnancies just fine and raised those children, most of their lives. And you don't know how you're going to get it done. And everyone's always talking about how cheesy the law of attraction is and how it's not real and all this stuff. But the reality is, putting yourself in a positive mind space when all you can do is be negative naturally, because pulling out one positive thing from your shit fucked up situation is so hard that you just have to find a way to do it anyways, or at the very least find someone who can do it for you in your surroundings. You have to keep your mind open to the positive side of things when you are getting shat on. That is one of the only ways to get to the other side of the shitstorm.
Are you going to talk about the film we watched yesterday?
No. I don't think so.
There's a great lesson in that.
There is. Is that a mainstream movie? What's it called?
It came out in 2016.
We watched a movie yesterday called
Lively.
The Shallows with Blake Lively. Very scary. Oh my goodness. She got attacked by a shark, then coral, then washed up on a rock, then, oh God, the poor girl, then had to seek refuge on the rotting carcass of a ginormous blue whale. Had to reach her hand into the open wound of the whale and grab its flesh. And I'm not a person who can even eat chicken on the bone, because my mind goes through some things where, I don't know, I just start feeling sorry for the chicken, and like the bone structure is too close to that of a human or another animal or whatever. And
with fleshly parts.
I've always been that way. I can eat a chicken nugget and I love a good fillet. So ironically. So anyways, we were watching this movie, and you should watch it if you haven't seen it. It was very scary, but a really good ending. A story of strength and perseverance and intelligence.
She beat the shark.
Yeah, just a good story, but I kind of felt like
very scary.
I was like just playing my character in an artistic and metaphorical way of life. Like,
didn't you say you had a dream
about it?
They already
ripped off my leg, and
did you say you had a dream about
there's
it?
blood, tracking everywhere from me. If you're not going to bring your fishing boat and pull me out of the water, at the very least, don't stomp on my head and, feed me directly to the shark, please. Thanks.
Yeah.
Should be friended. You guys, I'm huge.
Should be friended a seagull. Should be friended a seagull.
Xavier said she looked like a little mermaid with this little seagull sitting next to her. She set the wing of the seagull.
Yeah.
Well, there's skills right there.
The seagull.
The seagull's like, Mah! And then it started gnawing on her finger. And then they were friends anyways. She sent him flying along on or floating along on a little tiny piece of surfboard.
She did an FTR.
Yeah, she did an FTR. That was what he said. She did an FTR.
That's what saved her life.
To say final words to her family, and it gave her motivation to not die. So, yeah. So we'll update every single subject. Number 1, Airbnb. It's been over a year, and I've not heard back from their customer service department. There's a specific reason why I don't block the Google Voice number when it is attached to so much harassment. All of my business is set up with that number, so I really need that. It's number 1. Number 2, and I have nothing but positive reviews. They're actually publicly posted to my Instagram account in the highlights. There's a little section called Airbnb reviews. Every single one of them is positive. Every single one of them, is really great. And it's just, again, incredibly ironic that after receiving nothing but positive reviews, we're still in this situation. So that's number 1. Number 2, after Airbnb, the other business is my vehicle. So you guys know that I had paid off my entire car, Cadillac CTS, my very first auto loan. All the other cars I owned in life were like under $2,000 cars that I just paid cash for. I was so proud of myself for getting this car and paying it off. I felt so safe driving my kids around in it. It was like a tank. Really, really safe, reliable car. Cadillac CTS. It was rear wheel drive, which in the winter in Chicago was supposed to be terrible. I only got stuck once, and it was when I was driving DoorDash on the far, far south side. So when you drive DoorDash, they give you these little incentives to drive in a specific area. So if you want to make $4 extra on an order, they'll send you to an area that's very busy for DoorDash. They call them, or busy for DoorDash, or there aren't a lot of drivers regularly. And they'll call it a
block.
No, they call it it's not a block. It's called a, what is it called? Not a bonus. Well, it is called a bonus, but there's like another name for it. Are there any DoorDash drivers? I did this for like 6 months.
Yeah, I did DoorDash for a long time.
I was Dasher of the month every month. I just did great. I had a couple of issues, more than a couple. I didn't, record those issues. One of them was near-death experience regarding some missing oxtails. I had never in my life, I didn't know what an oxtail was, and this lady accused me of stealing her oxtails. It was a south suburb. I told her, ma'am, I don't even know what an oxtail is. She's like, bitch, I will fucking find you and kill you if you have my oxtails. And we were in, I want to say, not Tinley Park, Crest Hazel.
Hazel Crest?
What? Oh, is it Hazel Crest?
I don't know if that exists. Outside, I don't know.
So then they blocked my DoorDash account so that I can't even do biking. I don't know who, obviously it's not DoorDash. Now, here's the problem with that. If you think about what they've been doing to me, 21 jobs that I've gotten, and that they've harassed me or chased me or stalked me or fought me or unlawfully slandered or libeled me to the bosses, etc. and so forth, there's a dollar amount for that. Proving that I'm not only a competent worker, but that I've rightfully gained employment that number of times in this time period proves that not only am I capable, but that I am also willing. So there's a dollar amount for that. And, I mean, everyone wants to know the major differences and what makes me think that this set of circumstances is a coordinated attempt to oppress. And here's the main differences that like spring out at me. Number one, never in my life have I spent a holiday without my family, ever, not one. All the sets of holidays were traditionally spent with my mother. We'd see my mom for like half of a day or one day, my father and my grandma, and my like extended family after that. My children have always been with me, all three of them. Alexis, you got on the list, all three of them. So beginning the year of the reality show debacle, please do not bring it up. God, what a nightmare. But following that year, I never was able to have another holiday since that time. It's 2024 now. That was 2020 that the show aired. So it's been a solid 4 years. That's treacherous, and there's no explanation for it. The thing about my car being parked in a gated community in Barrington, I had never been to that gated community before in my life. There is no one who would have thought or known to look for me there, because prior to that day, I had no business there. So it's like, who while all of this other stuff was happening, would break into this gated community to key my vehicle? That's, pardon me, that's another one. And I did file a police report for that, and that's in Lake County. So the reason I'm saying all these independent police stations have information that if they put together, if they knew that it, like I know that it's one of like a bunch of the exact same type of stuff, me being victimized or me being like bullied and picked on for things like standing underneath an awning while it's raining or snowing in downtown Chicago, who doesn't do that? These were very clearly curated and customized to attract attention to my situation. And so I want to know why there isn't collaboration from all of these agencies in an effort to bring some resolution for me, because time is of the essence. I've been incredibly patient, and I will continue. Everyone continues to be patient, because what other choice do you have? And then when they throw patience out the window and begin being unruly, the situation becomes so scary, and understandably so. We're fighting for life here. We're fighting for happiness here. We're fighting for peace. We're fighting for a way. So there's that. There's that still obviously going on. I'm not really sure what I can say more than that. There are many, many police stations: Harwood Heights, Elmhurst, Lombard, Villa Park, or maybe not Villa Park, maybe it's Lombard, Westchester. In Westchester, there's a live video on one Heather GE account. I was chased by Westchester police. I called 911 on the live video and asked the operator, is this a traffic stop? Is this a real officer? And she said, I cannot confirm, nor can I deny that is a real or is not a real officer. I have no way to tell. And this was during the time when people were stealing cars and doing all this other stuff, so during the BLM protesting. So in Chicago, it was real bad during that time. In Chicago, there were whole entire fields worth of stolen cars. Literally. Like, just fields of them. I'm sure they were just chopping them and shipping them. What else? They were tired of being patient and tired of attempting to work with law enforcement when law enforcement was adopted to a society of behavior, mindset of behavior that was very 1980s. It reminds me of like Dan Aykroyd, Saturday Night Live, 1985. Is that Dan Aykroyd in that? And those types of guys, that's the kind of fraternal ideas existed in the policing business and industry among that generation of officers who rose up through the rankings and became
white shirts.
White shirts, exactly. And the white shirt people supposedly are in charge of those groups. So, of those officers, they call them lieutenants or not sheriffs.
Or sergeant.
I think it's lieutenant or sergeant or commander, something like that. So I don't know the ranks. The point is, there was a really fucked up, not meeting of the minds, not coming to term to. Dave, you can't put your butt down. Thank you. This is what I have to deal with. To get out of the scene. So anyways, and these ideas and these conflicts of interest, they began to go off. And people literally were like, fuck you. You want me to sit out here and starve and keep bending over for you white cops who have the political intelligence and consideration of, Saturday Night Live in the 90s. And we want to eat. We're fucking starving out here, right? So those two ideas conflicted, and this social group of cops and authorities, and I'm sure there were some innocent ones who got mixed in there who don't have those mindsets or, whatever. But there were a lot of people who were affected. by the refusal to continue to accept that rhetoric. And people started striking back, and that's when the George Floyd stuff was going on. That George Floyd stuff in the media and the way that they were covering it, that really fueled a lot of the actions, in my opinion, that took place. The Breonna Taylor, that happened. Look at the timing on that to the George Floyd case. You know, it was like fuel to add to this already smoldering fire, and it was just really scary. And all of that is happening, and there's all this type of injustice on TV, and it's like life is a video game, and I'm getting targeted as a black woman, brown woman, white woman. And I noticed that I would stop on all my job applications, I would stop answering for race. It would ask you for one of them. This was, I don't know, 2019. I just decided that I didn't want to answer for race anymore. Like, who fucking cares what race I am? I don't want to answer that, you know? So I would mark other. It would say like Caucasian, African American, Latino, you know, Pacific, Northern Islander, some shit, Asian, who knows what. And I would just put other, you know, under everything. So I didn't want to fill that out. And they kept on telling me, you know, during these situations that would happen in all the people I was speaking. I was speaking with police and law enforcement. I was speaking with people that I met driving DoorDash. I was speaking with people in Florida and people at gas stations in Kentucky and people literally all the way from here to here, back and forth, and getting a lot of different really crazy vibes. It's been amazing to see and experience as much as I have, but it's also incredible. It's like you have the need for some sort of isolation just with your family and your close friends after stuff like that, because you've given so much energy, you know. So the pregnancy is, I'm excited. I want to meet my child. I want to be, you know, reunited in my home with my 3 big kids. I keep on refusing to believe that there will be any other outcome than that. And I feel kind of like the storyline for my life is metaphorically the storyline from that movie. So the bite would have been like the unlawful displacement from my home, 2037 West Roscoe, after I attempted numerous times to contact different agencies regarding many various, just, I'll give you an example. People, do not put your feet on the headspace. People in my attic blowing various inhalants through the gases. I had to call People's Gas, which is on file. I had to call 911 a couple of times. Absolutely a lot of weird shit going on. Just a lot of weird shit. But can you please stop putting your feet on the headspace? It's so distracting, and you just put them on my pillow. So that's kind of my main concern. Xavier is asking me really nicely, babe, can you please try to be positive? And I want to do that. Thank God, you know, I have someone here who can remind me. If anyone else is struggling, try to stay positive. Is there any kill left?
No, but I'm going to do one right now.
Okay.
You should get an Asian. Oh, I'll look up.
He said, there's a press for tomorrow. Yeah, we had chicken last night again, thank God. After we're eating like this cold ass food every day, and then the smell of real food fills up the space, it's like, oh my gosh.
And I got your Barbie magazine.
Smell like Thanksgiving.
And I got your Barbie magazine.
Those are nice things, babe.
You show them if you want.
But anyways, it's been 7 months. You know, you guys know the situation with everything. Nothing has changed at all in that regard. I have attempted to file numerous police reports and court petitions that have all gone unresponded. I have emails with CCs to different lawyers, law groups, advocate resources, and by advocate resources I mean places and spaces like domestic abuse clinics or coordination efforts, other you know, survivor and trauma survivor groups. But there's just a paper trail, and that's the one thing that every angle has in common. None of the appropriated groups that are financially backed by our government or independent donor groups, none of them came through. None of them. Not a single one. Every night of shelter I've had over my head in these 4 years, because I've never been without, you know, my own home before. I've always been able to make a way, but every single night that I spent sheltered, meaning I had 7 months in an apartment, I had several 5-star hotels, 4-star hotels, 2-star hotels. It's been, you know, up and down, and slept in my car for many months, Airbnb. But the one thing that everything, you know, everything that happened follows. I don't know how to say it.
It happens progressively?
No, it's everything has been so unpredictable and unreliable, but there have been some commonalities and similarities the entire way. And one of them is that anyone who helped me, they were alone. They were acting on their own behalf, and they were putting forth the vibration that they were either military or identifying themselves as law enforcement. So it's just all weird, you know. And I told you guys, I went into the Jefferson Park police station, and there was a pink like piece of paper hung over one of the officers that said, "Please send help." And all the officers are like this at the table. And it's like, what the fuck is going on? I call them birds, you know, just sitting there. Scary as hell. So I don't know if that was real or not. You know, I asked them for resources, and they gave me like this list of housing resources. I really don't know. You know, I don't know what's real. From what I experienced, I do know what I've experienced. So that tells you a lot of things. Maybe they were holding me in like as a product tester for Meta or some other sort of advanced 3-dimensional super reality that they're creating. Who knows, right?
I can't stand that.
Is that positive? Would that be a positive? But I found my Aquaphor. My lips are super dry. This is a boring FTR. I'm just doing it because I like there to be as many witnesses as possible. For the fact that I'm still alive, but we definitely need some long-term answers that are not fractures, that are not band-aids on fractures. We need the fractures to be set and placed, and you know, or like some sort of titanium fracture enclosures to be created and lining our entire structures, you know, yeah, so that we can be all of it.
Interesting.
All right, you guys, so that's all I miss my kids. It's been 7 months since I spoke with Alexis. Even though I leave messages every week and drop off groceries on the doorstep once a month, and gifts and things of that nature. I've spoken with the big kids, but not seen them for longer than really short periods. It's all questionable. I miss my family. That's my update. There's dollar note first.
Keeping into films. I'll worship Mama.
Don't say that.